What's up, everyone? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. My friend, the EP told us we had to change our intro, so I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. But sometimes I think it's hard to mess with something that's just so smooth.
When he says change the intro, I thought he was talking about the timing of it, but you're saying the actual intro itself?
I took it as the intro itself.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to get his notes this week on that because I thought he just meant, hey, you guys are jacking up the intro timing and stuff, with our recording.
He just might be fucking with us too. I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
He just likes that.
Yeah, but that's why we love the EP, man. That's why we love him.
Yeah. So here we are, cruising through the first full work week of the new year. January's rough, man. It was a weird holiday season with New Year's being on a Monday. Last week was kind of awkward. And when I say awkward, I mean like some people were back to work, other people still had kids on vacation, so they weren't back all the way. You had a hard time like getting things lined up and ready to go, you know?
Yeah, I remember when I worked at the Boeing company, they did a 2-week at the end of the year shutdown of the plant facility. So every employee basically got from like the 23rd of December through, after the first of the year. And sometimes after the first of the year, they wanted to start on a Monday. You might get, like this would have been, we would have gotten like 2 or 3 extra days, after the first. And I have to admit, it was so nice because you got the 2 weeks off for vacation, and you got paid for it. And then everyone came back refreshed and ready to go, right away.
Well, it's funny because now kids up here, like they don't have school on Fridays, and the kids only had to go to school Monday, Tuesday, right before Christmas, and they were out Wednesday, Thursday, just no school. So a 2-day school week, and then boom, holiday
Jeez.
break. So it's a 2.5 week vacation now.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I'll be honest, man, like it took forever. I have never been so excited to get kids up and get them back into a routine.
Oh, they were getting off the routine already after 2.5 weeks.
Well, one was with her dad for the whole time. They were both with their dads for the whole time, and that's cool and whatnot. But like getting them back, like bedtimes and structure, and you can't listen to your podcast or watch TV till 10 o'clock. You have to go to bed. Stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. No, getting back into schedule is very, very difficult.
Yeah, and for me, it's you get to a certain point in life, this, like your body runs on a schedule. So if you can keep everybody on a schedule too, it's better for everyone just to make sure things get done in a certain order. I can't work in chaos like that in the house.
Yeah, you definitely have a set structure of what you need, and when you're out of that comfort zone, you don't function well.
I don't. I struggle with OCD like that, where I have to do certain things at certain times. I'm trying to break those cycles and like mentally work through it, but sometimes it's harder. It's a difficult task, but I guess it's a new challenge for me for the new year to try to break some of those patterns and cycles.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, but some patterns are good. I mean, some systems are really good when you keep to them every day. The hard part is, handling the stressors when, like, I remember, I had a friend who had really bad, I guess it's OCD, the one where, they had their stuff on a desk and I would purposefully rotate a piece of the equipment on the desk, like the tape dispenser or the stapler. I would just move it at an angle, and he would come back to the desk and he immediately knew it was out of place and moved it back into place. And it just stressed him out if it was going to stay out of place too long, like some people just have that, hey, I have an order to my life. And if it's out of order, then I'm not functioning right.
See, I'm at least thankful that I don't have that level.
Yeah.
I just have I know what I got to do and how to do it. Like the certain things I do, it makes me feel better about having done them.
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
And I'll be honest, the hardest part, the biggest driver for that is my stupid Apple Watch.
Really?
Those 3 rings, your circles, your standing, your steps, and your calorie burns and your exercise.
Yeah.
Oh man. Like if I don't close those rings, if I don't complete the challenges, if I don't get 10,000 steps, it drives me nuts. Like I feel like I haven't done anything.
Oh, that's awesome then. That's really good.
Oh man, you would think so, right? But then there's like days like when we travel, like when we go to Phoenix or whatnot. Like I had to go pick up the oldest from her dad's at the pickup spot on Sunday, and it was snowing throughout Arizona, and I got the privilege of driving uh, down the highway 93 south from Kingman to Phoenix, almost to Phoenix, in snow and sleet and fog. It's joyful, joyful time. So I didn't get my steps in, but it definitely registered like I had some kind of activity because my heart was kind of pounding from just making sure I didn't hit anything.
Oh gosh, yeah, we went up to Williams for New Year's and it was really nice. And then we saw pictures of this weekend with a foot of snow and going, holy cow, what a difference a week makes.
Yeah, right.
What a
That makes
difference, yeah.
that makes a huge difference. So yeah, it's and the funny thing is, but I got the kid, and the drop off points that there's a roadside table about 25 miles north of Wickenburg.
I know exactly where it is, yeah.
That's the I got there. I had a few minutes to kill. I have never seen that part of the desert completely white. I couldn't see more than 20 yards in front of me because of the fog, and the snow was going sideways.
Ooh. Yeah,
And
that's insane, man.
then I got the kid, and we got to the Santa Maria River to cross that, and it was like the heavens just opened up and the clouds left, and everything was just dry all of a sudden. So I did 85 the rest of the way to catch up, man. I made it home before the games, but crap, it was insane
Yeah, yeah.
to have to drive through some of that, and it made me feel better that it was me going, not Janice.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah. It's one less stress that you have to worry about you're a good person for doing it for her.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
let's go
good.
with that.
That was good.
Yeah,
Yeah, good person. There we go.
yeah. So, at any rate, so with the slowdown last week, I mean, people still weren't back. I had some time to peruse the news, and I feel like a lot of interesting things happen the first part of the year when everyone's still trying to put Christmas away, process that it's a new year, get ready for the college football playoffs or NFL playoffs, and I noticed some news came out about the Jeffrey Epstein case. They started releasing transcripts of all the depositions.
Okay.
Names started coming out. That was the big deal. Like people that were named on the flight logs to the island, and some of their
Oh.
yeah, all that stuff started
Oh.
coming out. The initial
Okay.
stuff, and there's really nothing earth shattering to it. You got your Clintons, your Trumps, your Copperfields. People like if they said that, they went to the island, be like, yeah, you know what, that tracks. I mean, you watch the news, you hear about these guys in their past, like, yeah, I get it. Like those aren't shocking, but there was one name that completely shocked the shit out of me, and like it took me a day to kind of like work through like how this was even possible. And I'm
Okay, wait a
talking
minute,
about
wait a minute. So you're saying that the names Clinton, Trump, Copperfield didn't throw you off at all?
no. Those like, yeah, you know how to get it tracks. Like because I've heard about those names for years.
Oh my gosh.
Like linked to it, and
Yeah,
and
but that would be a bad list to be linked to.
yeah, exactly. I was watching Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers go back and forth over it.
Yeah, I did see that, but I didn't know what it was all about. I just thought he was talking, I thought Aaron Rodgers was talking shit, but it wasn't that, it was something else.
No, he was talking shit about when Jimmy Kimmel's name comes up on those transcripts, and Jimmy Kimmel fired back saying, "Hey, asshole," and he spelled it with two A's, like that's as you would with Aaron, and told him, "Go ahead, you better have facts, and these are completely false, and I'm going to sue you." So it went back and forth, and it was a big deal with ESPN because Rodgers made it on the Pat McAfee show,
Oh,
which he's a regular guest on, who ESPN bought this year. So Pat McAfee's on ESPN. Rodgers said it on an ESPN show about another Disney employee, Kimmel, who's on ABC, which is owned by Disney. This was a whole thing.
I didn't realize that it was on the Pat McAfee show, because Pat McAfee runs a pretty good podcast. I mean, he does, or I guess it was a podcast, now it's something more, but he's legit. I mean, he's legit.
Yeah, he's very legit. That's why ESPN paid him, $100 million to get the show. And
Wow.
to his credit, not much has changed since he's come over to the network, but it's just interesting to me, like some of the names that move the needle. And the one that just completely caught me off guard, and I honest to God thought it was a joke, but the amount of memes that have come after this last week, I clearly there's some validity to it. One of the transcripts said, did Jeffrey ever talk to you about Stephen Hawking's proclivities?
Wait,
Stephen
Stephen
Hawking was famous
Hawking's
because
the scientist guy in the wheelchair?
yes,
Oh my, no, come
yes,
on,
he apparently was a frequenter of the island. So
really?
for those that don't know, Epstein's Island, I guess, was like almost like I don't even know how to describe it, like a den of
Debauchery.
sin,
Yeah.
debauchery, underage girls with some of these guys, weird, sex kinks, whatever else. It was all offshore, international waters. But Stephen Hawking was apparently a frequent visitor. And they asked him, what was Mr. Hawking into? And what I proceeded to read, I think it locked my brain up. Like, it gave me vapor lock in the head to where I had to sit for a few minutes just to sit and think about it, to process it. It said he was into undressed midgets solving complex equations on a too tall chalkboard.
No, come on. That's got to be fake.
That was in the transcript.
Oh my gosh. And these transcripts are people who were part of the case against Jeffrey Epstein.
Those that are testifying.
Okay, yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So I always thought that this, I guess I didn't realize the widespread debauchery that this island had. I assumed it was always just, guys would come for the weekend and hang out with girls.
That's what I assumed too.
So now it sounds like this is like a fantasy island for freak shows.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's a little more than just that. It's definitely people that are into weird things, and to each their own.
I didn't think that the island was handicap accessible though.
Oh.
I wonder if they have rails and stuff for people who have handicaps on the island.
I think if you have enough money, they make any kind of accommodation.
So
here's my thing with it though.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. It's if first off, is it midgets or is it little people? Like, what's the politically correct term? Because I'm just referring to the transcript.
I don't know what I don't know what the correct term is. I guess little people is probably the safe term.
We'll use little person for the discussion.
Okay, for the discussion. LP.
I would have to assume that the little people were of consenting age to do this. Also, though, there's a lot of weird things to unpack there. Having them nude and trying to solve complex equations on a chalkboard that's taller than them, there's a little bit of there's some power plays there. That's just weird to me.
That kind of reminds me of the men who watch their wives have sex with other people. Just watch. They don't participate. They just watch.
Yeah.
There's something very strange about that behavior that I never could understand. Like I could understand if you had them naked and doing the math problem on too tough of a board that turned into a sex thing. But just to watch someone do that, that's pretty sadistic, man.
Well, I don't think if he wanted to, he could even participate, giving his disease at the time.
Okay.
So I don't, even if he wanted to, I don't think he could. So I think there's a certain mental grab for him, like a lure. To have them solve complex equations to me is a little weird. Like you need someone who's on that level. Like, where do you even find this stuff? And I'm assuming there's probably some dark web level stuff to find this particular niche market.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that if this is how the island actually ran, that he had a network of people that could come up with any sort of fantasy. What I don't know is, did he do this for money, or did he just do this to say, hey, look, I've got enough money, anything you want, come here, and you know, and I mean, did he have those kind of connections where he said, look, you come here, this is your fantasy island, and I'll make sure it's here for you? Or did he like coordinate, hey, if you want it, you pay, and then I'll make sure it's there for you?
And that's an excellent question. I don't know the answer to that. I have to assume that he probably did it as favors. From everything I've read about the guy, he wanted favors and leverage over people.
Which I would think that with some of the people that were on this list that you've already mentioned, not to mention the other people that you haven't, that he probably thought, well, if I get them in a compromising position, then I'm going to have leverage over them.
That's basically it.
Yeah,
That's what I have
wow.
to assume.
Wow. No wonder the guy was killed.
Yeah, right. Suicided.
Oh, yeah, he was suicided 5 times. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. They left him alone in a cell for a few minutes, and then just strange things happened.
Yeah.
But what gets me with it, and you mentioned it, like if this is something that like they set up for, like you tell them, and they go and they find it. Can you imagine getting that request and like having to like assign it to somebody? And then the guy who's in charge of that particular room to get it set up is, pretty much having a what the fuck moment. Like, the fuck am I going to find this stuff?
Yeah. I mean, let's just say no rational person is going to do that job. You have to already be on that side of the scale to even take a job where you say you are a facilitator of the kinky stuff. Oh, no problem, man. I got this. No problem. This is my bag. This is my bailiwick.
And I agree with that 100%. I think my point of view on that is this one is so, detailed about what he wanted and what he needed. First off, you have to be able to find a little person that can do, I'm assuming, physics or basic algebra on the level that Stephen Hawking would appreciate.
Oh, wait a minute. I misunderstood. I thought you meant that they would, like, he would throw a problem on the board and they would just kind of pretend like, you're talking about he would actually have these people do the math.
From what I read, that's...
Oh my gosh. Wow. That is very thought up, man. Woo.
Yeah, exactly. So, you're not getting a couple little people to go pretend. You actually need them to do the work, which, again, if it's a complex equation, that's wild, man.
Well, but wait a minute. It's also, though, you have to have the little person who can do the work and is willing to be naked and is willing to be at a board that's above their head. Like,
which goes back to my comment earlier. Imagine being the guy that had to set this up.
Yes.
And he gets that request. Like, you could be into a lot of things, man, but you get that one, you're like, huh. I don't even know where to start.
I mean, I have to admit that does make me pose a lot of questions. I mean, if that's what the purpose of the island was, if that's really what it was and not just, having a sex with an underage girl, which, don't get me wrong, that's bad enough, but that's pretty tame, right? That's pretty calm compared to, I need midgets, I need a chalkboard, I need nakedness, I need all of it. That's someone thought up that. That's a pretty thought up piece of that's pretty wild.
Yeah. So, once I read that, I was like, this is just crazy, man. Because I, like you, assumed it was all mostly underage stuff, but apparently it wasn't. Apparently there was a lot of other stuff going on. And it's all in international waters. So, I guess anything goes.
I don't know. I guess if I'm completely honest with myself, with you, and the 5 listeners that we have, right? I'm pretty tame. Like, I'm pretty, sexually, I'm not very crazy. Like if they said, hey, Jason, you can go to this island and you can have any fantasy that you want, I feel like they would be like, you know what? That's a little too pedestrian for me. Can you please leave? You know what I mean? Like, they would kick me off the island because I would say, I guess 2 girls, 1 guy. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what I would come up with. So to hear people actually have this twisted, thing that they do is just mind boggling to me.
Yeah. It blew my mind too. And I think that's where I spent the most time just kind of kicking around. I was like, that's just on so many different levels that you have to figure out how to pull this off. And also, I don't know how you get to that level. I guess when you're wheelchair bound like that, you can only do so much. And you get to a certain level, I don't know, of fame or fortune or whatever, maybe pedestrian, sexual acts don't do it for you anymore. So if you can afford to pay for the exotic stuff, you push that envelope,
Hey, I don't know that OnlyFans. I hear about these people that pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to see someone's feet, or like the one guy, just send me your urine.
Yeah.
I'll pay you $1,000. I mean, there's some sick fucks. I mean, there's some very twisted ideas of fantasy that I'm not as surprised. I guess I'm not as surprised that the mind could go in a lot of different weird places. It is kind of funny with Steve Hawking because, like you, I mean,
Yeah.
you're kind of limited on, I guess you don't really have to worry about having sex with the person, right? Because you're getting humiliated, but it could be a heck of a lot worse.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I guess as long as the check clears, but you know, it's weird to me because you go back to the OnlyFans thing. I have a friend who experimented with that, and she was telling us that she was offered $500 a video of her walking different colors of Jello.
Yeah,
So she would get $500 for every color of Jello she took a video of her walking in.
yeah,
She told me that. She told me that. I said, for uh, $500, I'll go buy you for the fee of one of the colors. I will go buy and make all of the Jello for you,
yeah.
because if that's all it is, it was nothing else sexual, just her walking in Jello. And to me, that's wild.
Kind of getting back to the other part though, what are your thoughts about if your name was on the list of this deposition? Like how would you feel if your name was on this list as mentioned in the
Man,
deposition?
I do not know. I mean, I guess it depends on what the context was, and if you're discussed, because as long as you're not one of the most famous people, I think a lot of people aren't going to care. Because if I read it right, they were the names were more or less numbers that you had to translate.
Oh,
So they were
okay.
able to figure out, like, they had to break the code, or some people came and helped them break the code, if I understood it right. But I think at the end of the day, that's as long as there's people way more famous and powerful than you that are on that list, you probably have nothing to worry about.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but some of these famous people being associated on that list, even if you didn't do anything, it's a stain, right? I mean, now I don't know,
oh
Clinton,
yeah,
Trump, they might have done something, but there's nothing that has said if you're on the list, you did something wrong, right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I don't,
or is it?
and
Or
I
if
don't
you're
know
on
yet.
the list, that means that you're you did something.
I think it's I don't know if it comes out and it says it, but I think it's just assumed that you came out and you did something.
Yeah, I think
But
it's.
again, it goes back to you're doing it in international waters. So if you're doing it in international waters, you can be accused all you want, but it wasn't, in a technical sense, it wasn't illegal, but it was morally wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would be mortified if I was on a list that turned out to be, if I was in the same conversations of someone like that, like where you're like, oh man, dude, like I don't want to be part of that list.
Yeah,
And is that why Jimmy Kimmel got upset with Aaron Rodgers? Because, just the insinuation of being on the list is
yeah,
like a mark, like, oh, okay, you did something wrong.
yeah. I think
Okay.
it's got more to do with that than anything else. Who's Robert Kennedy Jr., the guy running for president in the third party, admitted he flew on the plane with Epstein twice with his family, but never went to the island. So some people are just trying to get ahead of it to make sure, like, if their names come out, like, it wasn't like I was going there to do this. It's like I was innocently going with my family on vacation. He offered a ride.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
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 I mean, I guess when you're that powerful and you're that wealthy, maybe your proclivities to your sexual fantasies and desires become more and more twisted. Maybe that's the issue is, you have enough money where you can make all the normal ones kind of come true. Let's see how far I can push my mind and my imagination.
Well, I think it's what a lot of it has to do with, like, when money's not an issue, and you can have anything like that, and some of the things these people come up with. Yeah, if somebody's willing to make those things happen, I guess to each their own. Like, I don't know how to say this properly without like saying it's okay, you know?
Well, I will say this. I am comfortable enough in my own perception of this life that I am in no way or I'm in no ability to judge anyone for what they want to do with their private lives, sexually, all that stuff. Hey, I can't judge you if you have a freaky, weird thing that you like to do. As long as it's not illegal, go for it. Like the guy with the Jello.
Yeah.
Hey, who am I to
Yeah.
judge? I think it's a waste of your $500, but if you like Jello on a woman's feet and you think that that's a sexy thing and you get turned on by it, or these guys that like pay guys to have sex with their wives while they just sit there and watch, I'm okay that people are going to have freaking weird things that you may not even know about. I think that's the thing that's weird. I had a friend whose father passed away. He was an older man, but when they were cleaning out his stuff, they found anal beads. They found all kinds of like things that kind of led to the fact that he might have been either gay or bisexual.
Uh-huh.
And it floored them. Like they were totally shocked that their dad had this kind of stuff. And I just said, wow, I never would have guessed that, cause we live our lives. It's kind of like we live a Facebook life, right? Everyone sees our pictures, think, oh, this is a very nice guy, clean cut looking guy. And then you find out that, yeah, he's into, he's homosexual and he likes anal beads and being tied up. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, to each their own. Like you said, as long as it's not illegal, I guess it doesn't matter. It's the things you find out about people. And that was just one of those things. Like, I read it last week. I was like, that's weird and funny all at the same time.
Well, and let's look at that because it doesn't sound like anything that you described for Stephen Hawking's is illegal. I mean, I guess unless the midgets are not little people, but they're actually young girls, 13, 12, 11-year-old girls or something. But in terms of just his fantasy, there's nothing really illegal about it. So I guess I shouldn't judge him too harshly because he didn't do anything, overtly illegal. I think it would be weird though if you just paid, like paying for something like that just seems like very weird to me.
Yeah.
What I mean? Like
again,
I'm trying to think of what I'd be willing to pay for in this world, and having a naked midget try to do a math problem for me would not be money I would spend on doing that. But I'm sure there's other things that I would spend money on, like I would spend money to, for other things, I'm sure.
And I guess as we move to wrap up the show, I guess the one comment I have about it is I wonder if that particular piece of his life will ever be in the director's cut of that movie about him and his wife. That came
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I guess, hey, if you have a wife and she knows that you get into kinky shit like that, and she's okay with it, then I can be okay with it. Even if she's not okay with it, hey, to each his own, man. You do what you do. You do you, baby.
Yeah, not my chair, not my problem.
Yeah, not my chair, not my problem. Well, I don't take it that far. I mean, if he was doing something illegal or something against kids or something, I would have a problem with that. But.
Well, I get that, yeah, but at the same point, like, man, it's not my business. You go do this as long as it's on the up and up from a legal standpoint. Go.
There's that great line that when you try to dig up something, all you get is dirty. I feel like there are certain things that I just don't ever need to know. What someone else is doing. Hey, as long as I don't know about it, I'm fine, man. Once you get me involved and I'm trying to, like, I always laugh at these people that, they want to know the truth. They want to know the truth. They hear the truth and then they get all upset and are so. Well, you wanted to know the truth. You shouldn't have asked if you didn't want to know.
You went looking for it. You got nobody to blame but yourself.
You wanted it. You dug it up.
Yeah. Well, it's something to think about. So as we wrap up today's show, do you have any thoughts on this? I mean, what do you want to add to the conversation for our listeners out there? It's weird a little bit. It's kind of awkward. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. the EP is getting ready for the upcoming baseball season and the push for the playoffs in hockey and basketball up in the Denver metropolitan area. If you are going to an Avalanche game anytime soon and want a chance to have a meet and greet with the EP, hit him up at liquid_EP on Twitter and the Instagram.
Yeah, interesting talk, dude. Yeah, I didn't know about this list. I would have been embarrassed to be on the list, I think, just from, even if I didn't do anything wrong, just to be associated with him, especially in hindsight, everything. But that Stephen Hawking one is really funny.
It's more of a curiosity.
It is. It's like a morbid curiosity. Like, wow, dude, Stephen Hawking solving the world's mathematical problems and being a little bit of a freak.
A little bit of a freak, man. Good for him. Good for him. That being said, Jason, take us home.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. We always appreciate you. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know